Hey, what's going on, man? How you doing? You've probably been the most consistent, I believe, subscriber. I'm pretty sure you subscribe to me, but you've been the most consistent person that's been in here in my life. So I really appreciate seeing your name once again. What's going on, Serenity Dittico, however you pronounce your name? Thank you. Appreciate that. I appreciate all my subs. Thank you very much. How are we doing this what day is it? Monday? I think it's a Monday. I lose track of the days of the week, honestly. Yeah. We're on a Monday. How we doing? So, got a few things to talk about quickly. Um, you know, um, yeah, I saw some pictures of the Battle of Panther in HD before. I don't know if they're the same ones that you saw, but I have seen it in HD with pictures before. They may be the same ones that I've seen, but I'm not sure. Anyways, so I got a few things to quickly talk about. The first being that I have made another purchase on the internet, which I usually do anyways. I wrote this on my community tab for the channel. There's going to be an unboxing soon for Childhood DVD Fan, which is my second account. Um, no, I have not ever seen the full episode in HD. I've never even seen a clip of the HD, but I have seen some pictures before. Um, but anyways, back to what I was saying. There was a community post I put out earlier today of an unboxing coming soon to childhood DVD fans, something that I have been after for quite a while. I think it's pretty obvious what kind of unboxing video it's going to be if you've been paying attention to the channel for a little while. You kind of know what the theme is going to be. Um, which I got to find some other things to add to my collection because it's starting to get a little out of control. This certain thing. Anyways, found it on a great deal for about 30 bucks. Negotiated it down from 25 to 20, and then with the shipping and the tax ended up being about 30. But considering how um I guess you could say rare and uncommon the item is, I'm very happy to add it to my collection. And I compared certain things to something that I have in mind as far as the autograph, and it looks to be 100% legit. So I look forward to showing you guys that on the channel. Um, Another thing that has been announced because I've talked about it on live before is actually Eckstein is going to be at the New Jersey convention thing because they're finally now starting to announce names for that thing, which I'm a little irritated about because you know it's a little over a month away and trying to plan whatever something a little over a month from now is a little bit short notice in my opinion for a convention. So a little irritated about that. Ashley Eckstein was the one who played Susan on season 1 episode 3, Believe Me Brother. Now there might be a reason that I end up not going to that, unfortunately, and it has something to do with the fact that I won't be discussing what exactly that is with you guys publicly, but it has to do with a situation that's out of my control. I'm considering the thing, which I would only be at one of those two dates. I'm not going to say which one of those two I would be at, just for my safety, but um, one of those days I have a family reunion, so I can't make it one of those 2 days, but I will only able to be at one anyways. So I've always wanted to meet a Drake and Josh star besides Drake himself. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. And if it doesn't happen, it's really because of just, short timing, being able to figure out the pieces. But I mean, uh, you know, it's a little hard because, you're busy because one of those 3 days I can't go because I have a family reunion thing I have to be at. And then I can only go to one of the dates, whatever, but who knows if they're gonna have someone on one date and someone on the other date, uh, then I'm like, holy shit, because Ashley is only at two of the three dates. So it's a little, uh challenging. ultimately, if I can't go, I understand. I hope I can try to find a way to go, but with the money and just the logistics and the timing and the scheduling, I might not be able to go. And Ashley was a great actress for, Susan, on, that Drake and Josh episode, but it would have to be possibly a little bit of a bigger name for me to like absolutely squeeze it in. If they announce like Jerry Trainer or Nathan Kress, or, the parents of Drake and Josh, whatever, then that's kind of where I'm like, oh shit, I got to make this work kind of thing. Because unfortunately, as I mentioned before in lives, Drake is doing two shows on July 10th and July 11th. So, and the convention's from the 10th till the 12th. So that only leaves him available open for the 12th. And I doubt that they would only do one day. So that's probably not going to happen. But that's okay because I with Drake that's not necessarily a problem. But my hope was that I was hoping it was going to be Drake and Josh for that nostalgia con, but that doesn't seem to be the case. I'm going to look quickly on my phone here to see if anybody else new has been announced because I haven't looked since earlier today, or like yesterday, whatever. I need to see if there's anybody who I've missed uh, for that New Jersey thing. Well, there is one other name here announced, but it's not a Drake and Josh name. So okay, all right. Let me just look on the website quickly. Just take a look here, see if there's anybody else on the guest list. Uh, so let's see. Nope. All right. So well, I mean, there is one other name I recognize, but I'm not really a fan of him. So, anyways, I'm gonna show this to you guys very carefully here. I'm not gonna hit the back button or anything like that, like I did on that other live. I'm gonna turn my face around in case it's facing me. Here we go. So, as you can see here, we have, if we can get the camera in focus here, we have Ashley Eckstein. I apologize. So this is as close as I can get the camera. She's from July 10th through July 11th. Um, for the New Jersey one, just a little over 2 hours away. One of those two dates I am busy on, so I wouldn't be able to attend one of those two dates, but I'm not going to say which one. Um, Chances are low that I'm going to be able to squeeze in the chance to see her, but if they announce somebody else who, I can't resist, like I'll have to find a way to make it work. It's just a little challenging, but here are the other names of the people so far, and they've announced more on Instagram. The only other person that I'm familiar with, the only other name I'm familiar with is Dan Green here. I am familiar with that name. I'm not like a fan of him, but I have heard the name before. So anyways, that is that. Um, yeah. Um, it took a while for them to even bring NostalgiaCon to, the East Coast where I'm at, but yeah, going internationally would definitely be a jump. Kind of started out like in California, then they went down to Texas and Florida, and now it's like finally coming to New Jersey. But they have one name so far that's grabbed my attention, but I don't know if it'll be enough with just the timing. If they had kept the original dates in August, those would have been probably a lot better for me to be able to attend because originally the event was supposed to be like in mid-August and then it got changed to July. And even back then, I was like, fuck, when that happened, like that just was going to make it a lot harder, whatever. So, um, it really depends. You know, we'll see where it goes. Because I have a thing later on in that month that I might be at, which is what for a personal reason why things are it's complicated to explain. But yeah. So anyways, um but yeah, so stay tuned, guys. There's going to be another unboxing soon coming to Childhood DVD Fan. And actually, as a matter of fact, I should mention this. There is going to be a new video that is coming to Childhood DVD Fan probably tonight. Although this was not an unboxing video and what I, kept for myself. But if you guys remember when I talked about this in a live or, wherever I might have discussed this before, I think I might have talked about this in the updated Drake Bell autograph collection, which since has been outdated, by the way. I should mention that. But anyways, um, one of my buddies, his name is Jack. He got me, I think I explained it in the video, but to quickly, whatever. I went to the NIAC show in April. Then, I had lost my autograph, because I had brought multiple autographs for Drake to sign that night. I didn't get the mini print that the show gives you, whatever, because I was focused on my other 5 autographs, making sure that, got them and, put them in their rightful place and whatever the case may be. So by the time I went to try to look for that mini one, it was gone. I looked all over the rooms, to see if any were left behind or whatever, but whoever somebody grabbed it. So, came out of the meet and greet. I was kind of, upset about that a little bit. I mean, I know I have the other autographs, whatever, but I had a similar situation happen at City Winery last year. Um, Although the autographs were pre-signed, before we got them that time, but that's a different story. So yeah, I was like, oh man, kind of thing. So um, my buddy Jack, and one of my other friends that was there with me. I had multiple friends with me that night. They saw me, whatever. I explained the situation to them, and both of them were extremely generous because I was the only autograph that they walked away with to offer me theirs. And I said, "Oh, I can't, accept that, whatever." And Jack, was basically like, I've got his autograph, and he knows how much of a collector I am. I met him before, whatever. And man, it was such a wrestle in my head. I'm like, do I really do this? Do I really do this? Because I felt like, a real shithead doing it. But I said to him, I said, look, I said, if I'm really gonna do this, I'm gonna make sure that you get something back. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna stick to my word that you will get something back for this. And that's exactly what I did. So his package just showed up today at his house. He sent me a picture. He loves what I got him. And it's something that I actually own in my collection. And ironically enough, our numbers for this are only 3 off. So it's obviously a Drake autograph, but I did an unboxing for the channel. But I didn't obviously put the video up because I even told him, I got the clarification from him that I was able to, do the video, whatever. But I didn't put the video up before the package got to him because I wanted it to be a surprise to him on what I got him. Um, so that's exactly what happened. He had no knowledge of what exactly I got him, but I got it on a really good deal. Um, and it's pretty cool that ours are only 3 numbers away from each other because I own the same thing in my collection. Um, and yeah, so um, pretty much. I did that, and he got it today. So that video will be up soon because now that he has the item, I can now put up the video for childhood DVD fans. So the next video that you guys actually see before the other unboxing that's coming in soon is not something that I ended up keeping. That ended up being something that I gave to a good friend of mine as a kind of um, not even like a repayment, but just like a courtesy gesture back, kind of thing for the fact that he willingly kind of gave up his autograph to me, and I just didn't want to be a bad friend and leave him with nothing, whatever. It took about around 2 months for it to come to fruition because I was kind of waiting for a while on something, but I got it and took care of that. And so he was happy with it and I'm, glad about that. So anyway, so yeah, so that video is coming soon to Childhood DVD Fan. And then there's the new unboxing that's coming soon to Childhood DVD Fan. Of the thing that I got today. And of course, I'm always on the internet, looking up, shit all the time to see, get good deals on whatever, add to the collection. But yeah, um, and so there's pretty much that. And then the NostalgiaCon stuff, which, that's finally starting to, get up off the ground. But I'm a little irritated, as I said, that it took so long to you know, kind of get going a little bit. I wish that they would have announced it sooner because, there's a better chance that I'm probably not going to be at that rather than be at that unless they announce some huge freaking name that I just, whatever. But anyways, guys, that's pretty much that. Um, yeah, if I'm not if somebody has more Drake autographs than me, I would, I guess I wouldn't necessarily be surprised, but I have to be up there. Not I'm not just saying that as an ego thing, whatever. But I mean, I do have a lot. I'm very proud of my collection. But yeah. So, anyways, that's pretty much it for yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I'm very, very happy, and the piece that I got, well, yeah, I can't really say too much, but let's just say that a recent piece that I have coming in the mail is something that was a huge void that was missing in my collection. Um, yeah, no, I don't really use Reddit. I really don't. I try to stay away from Reddit or anything like that. Because there's just a lot of stuff on there that I don't like. So no, I really, I made an account many years ago, and I really don't go on it at all because, it's a rabbit hole to go down that freaking uh, app. So no, I really don't go on Reddit at all. Although I do find out information that people tell me from it. With close friends, whatever, within the Drake community, but I don't really go and look for that stuff myself. So no. Um, to answer your question, no, nope. It's kind of like one of those things. I don't have a Twitter. That's kind of the same thing. I don't like how Twitter goes. Um, I only have a few, things. I have a TikTok, but I don't even really post anything on it at all. The only apps that I have are an Instagram, which is private. I don't really open it up to you guys very much, only a select few. I do have a Facebook, but that's kind of more private too. Um, and I technically have a Snapchat, but I don't really use that anymore. Um, yeah, it's primarily just YouTube and Instagram. That's pretty much all. That's pretty much it. Don't really have a lot of socials other than that, which is fine. The less rabbit holes and socials and whatever. Yeah. I don't know if the pair's source is secretly somebody that worked on the show, but I do know that they are do have a lot of knowledge. It's very similar to how Damn Warp shows on Instagram and the Childhood Source, which I do know their Twitter name just because I've seen it on Instagram. Dan Warp shows and the which is not Dan Schneider, by the way. And their Twitter, which I have seen a little bit of that, which is the Childhood Source, which is not me, by the way. I want to clarify that. Those are two people. I believe that those are two separate people, but they have a lot of knowledge and they've taught me a lot of things over the years, just from seeing their posts. And actually, did Dan Warp Show's Instagram page was the page that hooked me up with those scripts that I had got, the Rap Party jacket and a personal letter all from Dan Schneider. They pretty much messaged me and said, well, I don't really want to get into what exactly the message said, but I was just fortunate enough to be able to get some things for free in the mail, and the scripts that I got are not originals as far as I believe. Um, because they have like it says shooting yellow or like pink or and shooting blue, and both of them ended up being white. So I think that they were reprints of the originals, but what really kind of but they're still cool nonetheless. But I did get an official Rap Party jacket that was like like the official, like from the final season, kind of thing. They had an extra one in storage or whatever. That one was probably the coolest of all. And then the letter, of course, that Dan wrote for me was really cool as well. um you know but yeah, so yeah. Oh, I'm sure there are absolutely unused scripts for the show. I'm sure there are. I've seen certain scripts, whatever, differences with even Drake and Josh, or whatever. Like the one of the crazier things was as far as Drake and Josh the show, whatever, it was first kind of written or whatever when Dan read it on a trip like from or to Hawaii in November of 2001, as far as I can remember. That was pretty insane to me. But yeah. Um Yeah, Dan will never go. Dan will never be back with Nickelodeon. Quite frankly, uh, as far as I'm concerned, Nickelodeon, like, yeah, they're still around technically, but like, I have zero involvement with watching any of their content. I have zero involvement with keeping up with anything that's happening at that network. Um, to me, it's like, even though they're technically still around, like, it's kind of like, I don't know, like you lost touch with a friend. You have no idea what they're doing, you um but then you find out, all these years later, oh, they're still alive. Like, okay, that's just kind of how Nickelodeon nowadays is to me. I got out of it a long, long time ago. Um Pretty much when my era of, shows ended once Henry Danger and Game Shakers and all this, stuff came around, a whole new generation, the Thundermans and all that stuff. I pretty much was out. That was not for me. That was for the next generation. So, that's fine. Everything has a shelf life, in life at some point, and I'm fine with sticking with my shows that happened, and I've never watched those shows. Maybe they're good shows, whatever, but they just weren't for me. It wasn't. It just, I was, um I just kind of, moved on, So, I'm sure that the shows were not bad, but, they're just not in my category. Anyways, let's see here. I'm catching up on stuff. Nickelodeon will die in the next 20 years. Jeez Louise. They pretty much already dead to me as far as I'm concerned. Yes, Matthew Perry was supposed to be in one episode, as I mentioned before. He was supposed to be in Peruvian Puff Pepper because him and Dan Schneider were very good friends, and they tried to work on getting Matthew for that episode. Dan Warp Shows was the one who brought that knowledge to everybody. And from what I remember, yes, he was supposed to be in the Peruvian Puff Pepper episode, but that didn't end up happening, unfortunately. Although when you see how that episode played out, um, I don't really know where Matthew's position in that episode would be. It's kind of an awkward um episode for him to have possibly been a part of. I don't really see how he would have fit into that, and honestly. They shut down several countries. Yeah, it's just unfortunate. We'll probably never get a proper release of Drake and Josh in, widescreen as we should. Um, eh, I don't think Matthew playing that guy would have been, whatever. No, not really. No. Um, I might have seen that the full version, but if you're talking about iCarly, I mean, like that's the show I watched the most as a kid. But like as an adult, like I haven't gone back to really study it like I have with Drake and Josh. But it was the show that I watched the most as a kid because it was the one that, like, when I was watching hardcore. Yes, I of course I know that Matthew Perry was Chandler Bing. Of course. The ever sarcastic Chandler with Monica. Of course, I know that. But anyways, um, yeah, I don't know, lost my train of thought. Um, hmm. Um, honestly, I really don't like to go down the theory rabbit hole because we've already seen the whole Megan theory thing, which I don't want to get into. I don't really like to go down the theory thing. That's just I don't know. It's not. I don't really care about that. It's not something that appeases to me. So no, I don't really sit there and think about that theory. No. Although the only theory that I do wonder about, and I asked Drake about, even if it was just an in character answer, but his theory about why he drinks Mountain Fizz after brushing his teeth from the Sheep Thrills episode. I asked him about that, why that was the case, and he didn't remember that, so that was a little unfortunate. But other than that, I don't really think about theories. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I've seen little clips here and there of Josh in those movies, but I really could. I'm sorry, but I could really care less about Josh's acting in those movies. Could really care less. Just quickly checking on something quickly. Okay, we got nothing here. Gotta check my backup phone. Come on, I gotta have that on here. Let's see. Okay, hopefully I got my account on this one. Do we have a message back? Do we? Uh, no, we don't. Okay. Anyways, just checking out something different. Anyways, I have a reprinted or a duplicate or kind of a not original production, but Dan decided to I guess reprint them or whatever for and send them to me reprinted versions of the Bet and Pull Shark, but it did come from Dan Schneider himself, so I still consider that really cool. And then obviously Drake signing those scripts was obviously the cherry on top. Um and he actually did go through the Bet script, which was cool. Yes, of course. Every Drake and Josh fan should probably know about this, but they were 3 episodes into season 4, the last one being Mindy Loves Josh, and then on December 29th of 2005, Drake gets into a gigantic car crash where a truck driver falls asleep at the wheel and hits his 1966 Mustang head on. When he was at, I think, Pacific Coast Highway, waiting to turn left um, at a red light. And, Drake talks about this in his, you know, YouTube channel, whatever. And, his jaw was broken, his neck was broken, he lost a bunch of teeth. Um, other stuff was broken. It was a very brutal injury that he sustained. He had to be wired shut for 3 months with his jaw. Um, and he had that big. If you saw that scar on his chin afterwards, it's because of that accident. Um, so yeah, Drake came back pretty skinny. After that happened, but they were able to finish up the season. They had to stop production. Just right before New Year's, and then it took about till March for them to be able to get back to doing the show again. So there was about a 2-3 month period where these people who live on working and whatever had no work whatsoever. Um, and but they were really accommodating for Drake and they allowed him to recover and they ended up finishing the season. And I give Drake a lot of credit for that because that was very hard thing to come back from and to be able to finish up a show like that. Clarify. Clarify what I just did. Anyways, um, man, it's hot in my room. Whew, man, even with the air on in this room, it is still just hot as hell. Man, for unfortunately, my room and the room across that you've seen where I film videos is like the air doesn't work the way it should compared to other rooms in the house. It's whatever. But anyways, um, technically, we do see the back of Bruce Winchell in the Where's Walter finale that Drake did, so that was cool. You know, we don't see the face, but we technically see Bruce Winchell there, so that was pretty cool. Which I have about I'm gonna say 80 to 90% of that series, which, I don't know why Drake got rid of so many episodes, but I'm only missing like one, two, or three episodes of the like 17 or 18 episodes that they put into the Where's Walter series. I do have that on Childhood DVD Fan, but that's only for um, you know, my friends and people like that. It's unlisted, so you guys wouldn't be able to find it on that channel. But anyways, um, oh, okay. Nope. Nope. To that last one about the waffles. Nope. Um, Weakest episode of season two, probably Little Diva. Little Diva, probably, certainly. That used to be, for the longest time, my least favorite episode, but then without getting into detail, because I don't want to get into this rabbit hole again, but that ended up becoming Two Idiots and a Baby. But absolutely for season two, Little Diva. No ifs, ands, or buts about that one. I've never been a fan of that episode. Never have been. Least favorite song, man. Uh, I mean, all the music on there was fantastic. I mean, least favorite song. Um, Man, it's a good question because I can't because the show was so good. You can't think of a bad song right off the top of my head. I don't know. I'm thinking of a Zoe 101 thing. I think, but but that's not Drake and Josh. So, oof, uh, I don't know. I can't think of one right now. So, really, number one fan. I mean, yeah, I can see why for some people. I personally never really had a problem with that episode. Me personally, it wasn't necessarily one of my favorites, but it wasn't like my least favorite for sure. Um, do you ever wish you had the game spear? Uh, I don't know. I mean, I did see that picture of Josh. I guess somebody actually has the actual game spear, not just like one of those duplicate ones, and brought it to Josh to get signed or whatever. I don't know how the fuck that guy was able to get his hands on the actual set used one, but good for him. But no, honestly, no, probably not. I don't know. I was never crazy about that whole concept to begin with. I do love the bed episode, but that was not one of the things that made that episode so great for me. Me personally, I love the chocolate fight scene more than that, and just the overall rash part. Those were great. You know, and it was cool. Seeing Drake go through the script when I was with Boston in Boston with him at the City Winery show. To be able to go over certain parts of that episode was pretty cool. You know. He even did Josh's imitation in the episode of "What up with that?" So that was cool to see Drake do that. Anyways, still using this to know the order. Oh, okay. Of the Mercury, Venus, Earth thing. Okay, I see. Yeah, that's a good question. You do wonder about how that all took place. That's a good question. Um, yes, Drake did have issues around that time, but I'm not really wanting to get into what exactly those were. It's not one of those two things that you're mentioning, but yes, there were some issues that he was having that, quite frankly, it's kind of been a thing that's followed him most of his life. But I don't want to get into what exactly that is because it's not a widely publicized thing, and I don't really want to blow the lid on that one. I'm already kind of whatever with what I'm saying, but um, yes, he was having issues at that time that Josh was as well. Okay, see you later, man. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate, I've seen multiple people in here who I've seen in multiple lives, and even though it's a small audience, I do appreciate you guys for tuning in and, you know, making this, good for me because, what else am I going to do right now? I'm sitting in my house, don't really have anything to do. So, pop on here for a little while, say hi to you guys. And, yeah. No, my channel is not monetized. I don't make any money off this channel because, quite frankly, the fact that all this channel is other people's, the Nickelodeon's footage. I don't want to kind of put myself in a position. I probably could make money off this channel, but because it's not original content, I'm deciding to kind of let that part go. Because I don't want to. I always worry about this channel, unfortunately, getting like terminated or whatever. So I don't want to, venture out too far, whatever. So, no, I don't make any money off this channel. If I, I would love to, if I felt comfortable with that, but because it's, just basically footage from the show that's not my original footage, I don't think that that's really the route that I want to go down. I want to try to do whatever I can to keep this channel going as long as I can, even though technically I still haven't put new videos up in for years, and there are missing clips that I still haven't got up. But yeah, I mean, you guys got to remember, I went hardcore. I mean, putting like three clips up a day. I mean, for multiple years. I don't know. It's taken me a lot longer to recover from that than I expected. Which I guess is not an excuse, but whatever. I have so many other things in my life that I put my time and energy into, but I would like to one day tidy up this channel and be able to finally get those clips out that kind of wrap a bow on everything. Because I have a majority of the clips from the show, but there are missing clips that I still haven't gotten up that I've, been needing to for quite a long time. Anyways, fucking hot as hell in this room, man. Anyways, I'm gonna probably get off in a few minutes. Like, once we hit around the 40-minute mark, I'm probably gonna sign off. So if you guys have any final sayings or final questions, feel free to ask them. Um, I really appreciate, and I hope I don't jinx myself here, but I really appreciate that this was one of the better lives I've had in a little while where people on here, you guys have been good. I haven't run into, a bunch of people that I unfortunately, whatever. But anyways, well, Andrew, I tried to say that Andrew thought maybe that that was the case. I don't want to say necessarily that he was like saying that that's what was going to happen. He said it was a rumor that he had heard, and so if I didn't make that clear like that, I apologize. But yes, no widescreens yet on Pluto TV. It was a rumor that he told me he had heard. So if I didn't make that clear, I apologize. No, back in the day, I could not post Merry Christmas clips of Drake and Josh to the channel, which is why you haven't seen any of those, quite frankly. I don't know if that has changed or not, but that's one of those things where I'd have to play around with that if that is the case with YouTube. And quite frankly, that's a shit ton of clips that I would have to put up for the whole Christmas movie. So I wouldn't mind if that's still something that I can't put up. But when I tried to do that back in the day, it did not work uh, for whatever reasons. So, anyways, so we're gonna wrap it up here in about a minute or so. Um, nope, I don't speak any other languages. I went to Spanish. I did Spanish, and I was awful at that. So just English. I don't speak any other language. But living in the United States, there's not many places that I would have to speak a second language to begin with. Me personally, with where I go. So, um, yeah. Do I watch the podcast Good Guys? Sometimes, a little bit here and there, but not really on a regular. No. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up here. So stay tuned for the unboxing coming to Childhood DVD Fan coming very soon. And stay tuned for a video of a Drake autograph that I did get from my buddy that I explained the story of in my updated Drake autograph collections. I did not end up keeping it because it was something to get back to him. but it finally arrived at his place today. He got it. He showed me a picture of it. He was happy. And now, I can finally put that video up for you guys pretty soon. So that'll be coming to the channel within the next, I don't know, day or two or something like that. And then, I should be getting my item, by the end of the week or next week, whatever. And then I'll film that video and put up for you guys on Childhood DVD Fan. So, anyways, stay tuned for that for Childhood DVD Fan. Thank you guys for being cool in here. And see you in the next live whenever that is. This has been Drake and Josh Superfan and Childhood DVD Fan. Have a good Monday night, evening for the rest of your evening, guys. This has been Drake and Josh Superfan, Childhood DVD Fan. So long, everyone.